Hello and welcome to another episode of the Talkin Balls Podcast. I am your host, Neil Adams, and joined as always are my lovely bearded co-hosts in Rob and Marc. How are you, gents?
Sweet to the beat, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, very, very good, man. You know what the bonus about like only me and Rob being here is that you can now go back and say your lovely bearded co-host.
I know. We can all be lovely beard.
Curtis here,
And,
sort of feel inclusive, you know.
I know you can't say bearded because Curtis can't grow a beard. Speaking of somebody that can't grow a beard, Scott McCabe is joining us this week. How are you, sir?
That's an intro I've not received before, but I was going to point it out. My beard most definitely is not as good as you fellas. But yeah, I'm doing good. You know, lads, we got through that first weekend without NFL football. So I think that's always the hardest one to try and do. So yeah, doing okay. But yeah, it's going to be a long wait until we see football back in action. But at least it'll kick off in Dublin, you know?
That's it, 100%. No better city to kick it off in. Yeah, it was a very boring Sunday. It was. Can't say we did very much on Sunday.
I had so much time to do things. It was weird.
Yeah,
Long, cold showers, you know, nervous sweats. Yep. 6 months till football again.
It's so long, isn't it? Unless you watch the UFL. Do you fancy the UFL, boys?
Probably. It's football, innit? Let's do it.
Yeah.
So Scott, you are communications manager for
Correct.
Lingus College Football Classic. How did you get into the whole football thing? Tell us your whole story of how you get into American football to where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the title is most definitely correct. Communications officer is my current role, and it really, my love for the game stemmed from my dad. He is this year he's 30 years a Chiefs fan, so he is in the glory years of being a Kansas City Chiefs fan.
Be loving life.
But he's loving it, and look, he deserves it, you know. But yeah, it all started really from him. As a young kid, I kind of wanted to get into kind of different sports. Of course, soccer being the main one where I grew up, and there was just something about American football that it just drew me in, and I was just kind of obsessed with it from an early age. Obviously, it's not the easiest game to wrap your head around, but once you kind of get those initial few rules in place, then you're like, okay, I love this, and it's just part of what you do every Sunday. My dad worked over in Boston when he was about 19, and it was the only sport on in the bar, so he was like, look, I'll either support a team or not get into any sport. So he turned to the bartender and said, who is the worst team in pro football right now? And the bartender said, that's the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, he was working in a New England Patriots bar at the moment, so he didn't want to follow the trend, you know. He wanted to be different, and he just became a Chiefs fan, and ever since then, I suppose since about 2014 onwards, I've been following the NFL. And then became a Cowboys fan myself. And look, I've not seen them lift the Super Bowl yet, but I'm always hopeful. And then, so that's sort of the NFL and how I got into it there. And then I suppose me personally, in secondary school, I kind of had a joy for writing, and it really kind of came out in about 4th and 5th year. And we had a newspaper, and my first ever bit of journalism was on the 2016 Lingus College Football Classic between Georgia Tech and Boston College. So I did kind of like a match report thing, and I just loved the buzz I got from it, and it always stuck with me. And I did a kind of work experience at a few radio stations and stuff like that, and so the media was always kind of there. And then when it came to the chance of picking a college degree, I was like, journalism, I like the sound of that. Now, when you say journalism and the lecturer says to you, you know, what do you want to do in journalism, and you say, I'd like to cover American football, you get a few weird looks, and you get the odd laugh, and kind of the head turn going, what are you talking about? But I feel very fortunate to be in the role that I'm in now, and I got the role last December. I started sort of part-time and eased my way into it, and what a game to be a part of last year, 2023, Notre Dame and Navy, just a monumental fixture, and incredible thing to be a part of. And truly grateful for the opportunity that the guys had, because look, I was a young guy just kind of straight out of college, but I've truly loved it. And then I had my own kind of account as well while I was in college called the Irish Punt, and that was where I was kind of able to showcase a couple of my takes and just opinions and sort of just be seen. And you know, I'd really say that to anyone. It's good, and even like the podcast here, it's nice to have a platform to kind of show your love for the game, but also your knowledge and your thoughts, and like you guys know your football, and it's just a great thing to be a part of. But that's really the kind of story of how it all fell into place.
So how did you end up being a Cowboys fan when your dad's a Chiefs fan? How'd that be allowed?
That is a good question. How could that be allowed? We actually did a road trip of America in 2014, and we stopped off at AT&T Stadium. And you know, they call it Jerry World for a reason. It's truly out of this world. Absolutely incredible stadium. And from that moment onwards, I just became a fan. And those were the years with Des Bryant and like the likes of Jason Witten and stuff like that. So little different the roster now. I remember cheering for Tony Romo. Now it's Dak Prescott. But that's kind of how it came about. But I've been suffering a lot of slack right now from my dad, who's seen his team win 3 Super Bowls while I'm still waiting to see my first, you know.
Well, that's it. Well, if you had went down your dad's route, me and you'd be supporting the same team right now.
Oh, I know.
You're going for the worst team in football. You'd be a Jets fan right now.
The good years are coming.
We keep saying that every year, Scott, and it doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
We're Tottenham Hotspurs fans at this stage of the game. Like this year, it's going to be the year.
Ooh.
Never happens. Like, you know, especially.
I never thought I'd hear those words out of your mouth. You're an Arsenal fan.
Well, I know, but
You're
I'm
Tottenham.
saying, Tottenham fans are like always next year. Next year, this is the time we're going to win a trophy. But then, there
True.
you go.
Liverpool fans were like that for years too. Don't worry, I feel it.
No.
And Neil also said last week this is his last year of supporting shit teams. So let's hope they do well for him.
That's it. You know,
We'll see how
if the Jets fluff it up this year, I swear to God, I'm picking a different team. I can't deal with this any longer.
Who are you going to
Stay
pick, the
loyal.
Cowboys?
Yeah, you're gonna join the Cowboys, yeah?
The Cowboys?
I have a Cowboys jersey on my wall in the man cave. You know, that could be a thing. That could be a thing. We could be Cowboys fans together, Scott. You know, the all two of us.
We're welcome. Most hated team in America, so we'll take any fans you can get.
all
it.
the glory during the regular season and flop at the
That's
playoffs.
it.
Perfect.
That's it.
I know.
One and
How
done.
do you feel about Dak Prescott? Really, like as
Getting a little bit
fan?
impatient at this point as a Cowboys fan, to be honest with you. Dak's had his time and kind of feeling, and I'm like, look, what have we had to show for it? All we want is even an NFC Championship appearance, like, and we can't even get that, you know. So I think Cowboys fans are really at their wits' end with it, and they want change, and they're calling for change. Doesn't look like there's going to be changes. That's what Jerry has come out and said. But I wouldn't mind to see just some fresh blood. I know we picked up Trey Lance in the offseason, but I mean, I don't think he's the guy potentially going forward. You never know. But I'm at the end of Dak Prescott. Unless he pulls something out of the bag this year and is incredible. But even at that, Dak is usually like leading the league in passing or touchdowns.
Yeah.
You know, he's always at that top 3 category. And as soon as we get to the playoffs, I don't know what happens. Just freaking out, you know?
Just jokes.
I'm hopeful that this season will be different, but if it's not, I think it might be time for Dak to shuffle on maybe.
Were you happy to keep McCarthy, or were you looking for a different coaching?
I was looking for a different coach, to be perfectly honest with you, because I believe
anyone specific?
There's quite a few. Initially, I wanted Bill Belichick, but it's quite interesting, and you lads will have seen that no team seems to be really picking up on him, and it's that kind of old school style of coaching, and I think a lot of teams know that that's not really going to float anymore, and it's not really suited to a lot of these young college guys coming through. So I initially wanted Bill Belichick. On paper you want him, but realistically he struggled big time after Brady, and I know he's not had the best roster, but still. So I kind of like the look of Pete Carroll, to be honest with you. I kind of like what he's done, and I thought it could have been a cool opportunity for the Cowboys. But as of now, look, we're staying with Mike McCarthy. We've lost Dan Quinn, which is a loss to us on defense, even though our defense didn't really show up in the playoffs. But look, I'm hopeful. I'm always hopeful going into the year, but yeah, I could do with a few changes for sure. One thing I'd like to see is us pick up Derrick Henry in the offseason. I think that'd be monumental.
Really?
I think if we went for running back Derrick Henry, absolutely. Tony Pollard, I don't think he's a 3-down back, and I think he showed that this season. When we're at the goal line, you look back to that Miami game we had, he just couldn't get it across, and we need that bigger back, that glitzy glamour name. And I know Derrick Henry's not getting any younger, but he's still Derrick Henry. He's still got a bit left in the tank. Do that 1-2 punch. We see so many teams doing it. So
That's it. It'd be a nice compliment to Pollard, wouldn't he?
Absolutely.
But what do you call your RB2? Was he not do well at the end of last season as well?
Yeah, he was. Rico Dowdle was, but he's still the same kind of build as Tony Pollard. We just don't have that kind of huge.
Play for the center.
Yeah, exactly. Say it who it is, Ezekiel Elliott.
Right
We do kind of miss that. You know, we do miss that presence. Yeah.
So, as you said, you were involved in the Irish punt you're also involved with the boys upstairs as well. Is all that still going, or what is this job? New jobs took everything away from all that?
No, absolutely not. Work has been brilliant, and that's part of it. I'm able to kind of do a variety of things, and as you guys will know, like everyone does things on the side, and you just kind of you're always stretching doing things. But boys upstairs show, they're great lads. Shout out to them over in Florida, and we became really good friends, and that was kind of through college. While I was in college, I got to know them a little better. Now, the only difference is now the time zones are really playing a factor. So where I might have blown off a lecture the next day, staying up to 2-3 a.m. to chat football, can't really do that this time around. So I haven't been able to get on and chat to the lads as much. But no, still doing that. And I'll do a few bits for sportsshow.ie too, which is really, really cool. Got a nice opportunity to do a bit of work with them the past couple of years in the Super Bowl. So it's kind of just finding that balance, and at the end of the day, I'm in a position talking about a sport that I love, and I just want to continue to keep talking about it.
100%. Georgia Tech against Florida State coming up. Happy days. We are looking forward to it. Georgia Tech, as you said, have been here in 2016 already. They were playing Boston College, I think it was.
Absolutely.
Who won that game?
Correct. Georgia Tech came out on top. Yeah.
Do you see Georgia Tech coming out on top this week or this year?
This is an absolute cracker of a game. Tickets on sale March 14th. That is the messaging right now. You can go online at College Football Ireland, register your interest, and just get excited, because I'm so excited. We had the pleasure of going over and visiting these two universities. We were over at Georgia Tech and Florida State, and just the enormity of college football, it's truly on another scale. And that was my first trip abroad to kind of see the size of college football. And I couldn't believe it. I genuinely, I knew it was big from our game, but when you go over there and you see the scale of it, it's just incredible. So
it's almost bigger than the NFL, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bigger than the NFL.
And it's funny, we went to a Jacksonville Jaguars game, a 49ers game, just at the tail end of our trip, just as to kill a couple hours before we were headed off. And the atmosphere,
couple hours to kill there,
it was a lovely couple hours to kill. But just as we were heading off, I must say, and that's not me with my College Football Ireland cap on, the atmosphere at the college game was just different. And it's because I think the best way to describe it, and that's how I kind of would describe it to my pals and stuff, it's kind of like the GAA in a sense. If you know that kind of county spirit, like if you're a Dublin fan, you're a Cork fan, Mayo, wherever you're from, it's that kind of connection, and that's what the college football supporters have. They've just got that connection to their team. So what an absolute monumental game. I mean, both teams had fantastic seasons. Florida State with their first bowl game in a fair few years, and an incredible season under Haynes King, their quarterback there, one of the top rushing offenses in the ACC too. So Georgia Tech are really building, and they're building a strong roster as well. Had the pleasure of meeting a couple of the guys, and then of course we've the obvious David Shanahan connection, punter from Kerry. So it's just great to have an Irish guy there. We've never had an Irish guy playing in our game, so really, really cool and lovely guy. And then Florida State, of course, undefeated. It doesn't get much better than that, we don't need to get into the whole controversy of them not being into the playoffs. That's it.
Oh yeah, will not go. Yeah.
If
you want, Scott.
It's not much that I can tell you, because to be honest, it's all out there. They voiced their opinion, and it is tough. And we did really feel for the guys over there, because we saw the ins and outs. We saw 2 games this season, and we saw the dedication those players put in. And look, it's unfortunate now that they're changing the system. So if that happened next year, Florida State would make it, because they're widening the playoffs, I suppose. But look, they get to launch their season in Ireland, and both teams do. And what a game it's going to be. And I think it's going to be one of the more competitive games we've had. I truly do, because they're 2 well-matched teams and they're ACC rivals.
Now I won't say that I know a lot about college football now, but I did try to follow Notre Dame, because obviously with the Fighting Irish and all that, carry on that sort of link.
Absolutely.
Blah blah blah. But for anybody that wants to support a college team, do you see the way that the UK have the Jacksonville Jaguars coming over pretty much every year now for the UK games?
Yeah.
As somebody that works in this, do you know if there's going to be a home team every year coming up, or will it just be 2 different teams every year?
It'll likely be 2 different teams every year. Now, having said that, look, in 2016 we had Georgia Tech. In 2024 now, we have Georgia Tech coming again. So that's the first time we've ever had a team kind of come back. So that's not to say that in the near future Notre Dame couldn't come back, but it's as of now it'll sort of continue to be that kind of home team away team, because we're just trying to get involved and get as many kind of teams over here, because for a lot of these guys as well, it's their first experience in Ireland, and that's really, really cool when these guys come over. I've honestly never even left the country for some of them, and for their first time to play a football game in Ireland, it's a really special occasion to be a part of. But no, there's no kind of like designated, like you mentioned there, the Jaguars. It'll continue to be just kind of year on year, and I think that kind of adds to it, to be honest with you, Neil. I think that excitement, it's like, who's it going to be next year? And look, before you even ask it, and it might be on the list, that prep for 25 and 26 is underway. We previously announced 2027.
Don't be answering my questions before I've asked them. I know. Six, God, man, I've got on a rule here, man. I've got to be freaking system happening.
Well, out of curiosity, Scott, how do you guys go about selecting the teams that are playing in the college football Ireland game?
Yeah, no, like it really has to come down to a lot of different factors. Does it make sense for the university to come over? Obviously, with our title sponsors, Lingus, it can help if they fly to certain regions as well. That these, these get where the colleges are located. But ultimately, it kind of comes down to the college, and if they're happy with, because at the end of the day, and this is what we continue to hammer home at domestic fans over here, this is not a preseason game. One of these teams is giving up a designated home game, so we really need to get all the Irish fans behind Georgia Tech and make it feel like a home game for them, because they've been, they've done us all a favor experiencing this game over here, because they've given us that home game. But in terms of the teams, I mean, it really just depends. Like we would have an Irish, like our team would be Irish and US, so we would have our US team, and they would have connections with the colleges, and they would do discussions, and it's a long process. It's not as easy as just pick up the phone and would you like to play? But
you want to play it, baby?
Yeah, exactly. But I think the difference now with colleges looking, and we've certainly seen it in just the uptake kind of this year, is that people have seen the scale of the game, especially last year, and even what we did in 2022, and they go, okay, this is for real, and we want to make this an annual event in the sporting calendar, so we want to get the good quality teams over, and I think we've done a really, really good job at doing that, and especially this year, and I know beyond, we'll continue to just strive to get those great teams over here. But there's no kind of set criteria. A few teams can fall into place that might make it easier for the teams to come over, but it's kind of not closing it off to any colleges,
And you see, when the teams come over, do you find that there's a large following of fans that would come over with them, or is it more domestic fans? Oh no,
absolutely, yeah. So like last year we actually broke a world record for the largest movement of Americans during peacetime. So we'd over 39,000 US fans coming over. Now the split in that I'm not exactly sure, but there was a whole lot of Notre Dame fans. The Notre Dame fans did outnumber the Navy fans. Probably 3-1, to be honest with you. But we'll find that there, we're estimating thousands of Georgia Tech and Florida State fans to come over this August. And head coach of Florida State, Mike Norvell, has said that he wants the streets of Dublin to be painted garnet and gold, and so they really want to make Dublin like the destination for their fans. And look, we were over chatting to these fans in Tallahassee and Georgia, and they're excited to see their team, their alma mater, play in another country as well, and a lot of them want to experience Ireland. It's like getting the best of both worlds nearly, so the fans do travel, and they travel well, but we'll certainly be looking for that Irish support this year and beyond, because it's so important for us in growing the game here, and that's one of our key goals as well, is to grow the sport, so having David Shanahan here, it's a great poster boy for, like, I was in the stands in 2016 as a kid, as a young lad, watching the game, and I know if I was going this year and I'm like, he's Irish, he can do it, maybe I can do it, so it's exciting.
There is a lot of people going over at the minute, isn't there, to the NFL Academy and the player pathway thing, so it's looking good for us, like.
Looking really good. Yeah. These guys, wishing them the best of luck. Tig Leader and the work that he's done at Leader Kicking, phenomenal stuff. And we've just we've had a good run of it so far, and hopefully it's not long. Like, we had Daniel Whelan in the league this year, and we saw what he was able to do with the Green Bay Packers. Great season. So future's bright, and let's continue to kind of grow the sport here, and podcasts like yourselves and stuff like that can only benefit that.
Rob, you were going to say something there before.
No, but the moment's gone now, so it's
all right. The moment gone. Well, here we'll talk about that thing we were going to talk about earlier. So we have Pittsburgh against Wisconsin in 2027. Is that
because of the Steelers, Pittsburgh Steelers coming over here? Is that maybe a link? Is there a link there or anything, or is that just
that was the kind of perception I suppose some people have, and understand that of course with the Steelers announcing the international home marketing rights, but no immediate link. As I said there, the teams can just work, and if it aligns, it aligns. And look, they announced the college football schedule years in advance now, which is a real benefit because it means that we can go out and plan. So when the opportunity came and it was like, look, Wisconsin and Pittsburgh, they're both available, they're both eager to come over and play, it was like, okay, well, instead of holding back, let's just do it and get it out there, and that's what we've done. And so of course it might have confused a few fans. It's like, wait, does that mean 25, 26? It's like, no, we're working away, we're still doing our thing, but it's a good news story, and we were like, look, it's worth sharing and getting out there, and it also shows that we're dedicated to this long term. This isn't just that was a good few years, like 2027 still having college games in Ireland. Like, we're the only country outside the US to do this, and it's really ours to lose, and that's why we need those Irish fans and European fans to really get behind this game, because we don't want to lose it and we want to put on a good show.
But it's literally sold out every year, isn't it?
So last year we sold out, and the demand was we just couldn't believe the demand for it over here. It was amazing. So we did unfortunately have to do a ticket lottery, and I know that did upset a couple of people, but it was just deemed the fairest way to try and get as many fans involved and everyone an equal opportunity, I suppose. But this year, look, we're not doing a ticket lottery, and I think the issue with 2020 was that was a COVID year, so a lot of fans bought tickets for the Notre Dame and Navy game that was supposed to take place in 2020, which meant that when it happened in 2023, a lot of those fans already had tickets. So that's why there was kind of that imbalance, if you will, and it made it that more difficult. But look, this year we're hoping that everyone can get their ticket, and it'll still be in high demand. But if you're quick and you're watching our channels and you're registered, there's a chance you'll be able to get one.
Happy days. Do you have any insider knowledge on the 2025-26 games?
I unfortunately don't. I kind of wish I did, because that's really the exciting part when we find out. Like, I remember just briefly finding out about Florida State and Georgia Tech and being like, oh my gosh, like, when can we get the news out there? But honestly, I actually don't right now. I know the team are currently working away and picking up phones and working away at that. So it's in the works. But myself personally, I don't have any updates on that.
Just
so I know how many days I've got to book off, is there a tailgate party?
Well, that's a good one, because what we'll do is, and we did this last year and it was really great, and the first year we kind of did it, is we had our app, so the Aer Lingus College Football Classic app, and within that app it had a schedule of events and all the key things taking place. So we had over 52 events taking place last year around the game, which was quite phenomenal, and our motto is much more than a game, because it's everything that kind of encompasses the game. So from high school games to pep rallies to whatever it might be. So there's no immediate kind of, I know right now there's a skeleton plan being put in together of all these kind of things that are coming together, but I can there'll most likely be tailgates, and there'll most likely be pep rallies and stuff for you guys to attend and have a good time at. We want to look, the main goal of this is to bring that American style tailgate and the atmosphere that you get at a Georgia home game or a Florida State game to Dublin, but do it Dublin and Irish style,
Like, it went it just went up a level last year, did it not? With like the Dan Patrick show and all came over, with Will Ferrell and all came over. Like, was that's never happened before? Sure, it hasn't.
Not to that scale that I remember. I mean, I covered the game as a journalist with Sports Joe in 2022, but even at that, like, there was a couple good names at it, and you had I think it was a couple guys from ESPN were over and stuff like that. But I mean, when I was sitting here and it's, working away, then I get an email to say Dan Patrick's scheduling here, we need to organize this and that, and you're kind of going, what? And then of course we had Joe Montana, the one and only Joe Montana, at our game last year. So it was a bit bizarre when you would just be running by a tunnel and you'd be like, I'm like just a couple feet away from greatness, But yeah, look, we really it was incredible. And following on from that, now we've got College Game Day coming this year.
Yeah,
which
Pat McAfee
is
and all coming.
Pat McAfee, and it looks like potentially, like the fingers crossed if he's able to do it. Nick Saban has recently announced that he's joined ESPN College Game Day. So
Great.
Alabama head coach could be his first stint is in Ireland with College Game Day, which would be awesome. So we didn't have College Game Day last year. That's just another cool angle that 2024 presents.
Like, it just seems to be getting bigger and bigger, doesn't it, Scott?
Absolutely.
It's just going to go from now till 2 games a year, do you think?
Look, we never know. You never know. I probably need to get 2 computers or 3 phones or whatever to keep up with the social side. But yeah, look, we would welcome it, honestly, and it's just a really, really cool thing to be a part of. And when you say to people, "Oh, this is kind of it's what you do," it's like, "Huh? What?" And it is really amazing, and I truly am grateful for the role because, like, it's one of those things that I didn't think there would be a sort of position in Ireland for me. I was kind of ready to pack the bags and potentially go to the US, and just so happened things fell into place. So it's really exciting, but I can guarantee you, like, this is around the clock, events, like the team 5, sometimes 6 days a week, when we probably shouldn't be doing it 6 days a week, but sometimes things will just go that way that we'll work around the clock to try and make this game and this event as enjoyable as possible. And a lot of people might go, well, how does it take that long to do all that preparation? But it's everything that I kind of said there, like all these extra events that go on and all these top CEOs in town, and you're also bringing over these fan bases, and we would work closely with Dublin City Council as well to make sure that they're happy with what's going on, but because there's so much prep and planning, so it really does. And this has been my first kind of full circle with working with the Lingus College Football Classic. So I think part of me was like, after the game, maybe it'll kind of dip. And we had that lull, and then it's just gone, whoa, here we go again. And you got to be ready for it. But boy, it's fun to be a part of.
So what do you say to people that say you only work 1 day a year?
What do I say to them? What would I say to them? I said, check my emails because I've lost count of how many I've run.
So for anybody that doesn't follow college football, says, right, you know what? I follow a shitty team. I would like to follow a good team. Mm-hmm. Give us a couple of teams that would be potentially good to pick.
Good to pick. Okay, and I can't be biased here, but I truly do like the way Georgia Tech are playing right now. I like what they did last year. Really exciting stuff. Their running back, Jamal Haynes, is fantastic. Definitely one to watch. And their safety, Lamiles Brooks. We had the pleasure of chatting to Lamiles when he was over in July last year, and he is talented. And they've got a lot of talent on this team, and they're kind of going under the radar. So if you kind of want to support a team, a real dark horse this season, I truly think Georgia Tech are your team. And if you want an obvious Irish connection, that's a nice one. Florida State, of course, they're at the top of the game right now. But look, if you want to get ahead of the curve as well, Wisconsin, Wisconsin and Pittsburgh, they're, of course, it's worth supporting them. And I think what I would say to anyone is look who your favorite NFL player played for. And that's kind of what I would used to do. And I know a lot of fans, from it might be Jalen Hurts in Oklahoma, or any of these kind of fans who, you'd be an Eagles fan or you'd be a Cowboys fan like myself. I initially was a bit of a Buckeyes fan, Ohio State, because of Ezekiel Elliott. I watched Ezekiel Elliott get drafted, and I was like, where did he play college football? And I was like, okay, cool. So Georgia Tech, Florida State, they're the obvious ones. If you're an Irish fan, you might have the option. Well, you will have the opportunity to see them play this August. But if you're kind of looking for something a little different, who's your favorite player in the NFL? Follow back and see who he used to play for, and it's usually a cool way. But there's some really, really great and exciting teams this year, and every year, And if you want to go a step further, I know Matthew McConaughey, the actor, he's a big Texas Longhorns fan, so you can go down that avenue too. Exactly. Nice plug there. All right.
I was gonna have a look at some Georgia Tech merch there, but I don't think I'm gonna scud them just yet.
Because
my track record, I think I'll maybe just leave it closer to the time.
Yeah, you buy Florida State. I'll get Georgia Tech. We'll see who actually is the scud.
Yeah.
I'm still upset you have that Seahawks jersey behind you, because we have no chance of getting the playoffs next season.
Yeah, third year.
Remain hopeful.
He buys all these hats, and Curtis McCosh, one of the other hosts, is a Bucks fan, and they got to the playoffs, and Marc put the hat into the basket, and the next thing you know, they get absolutely smashed the next game.
Oh no!
You're such a Scot.
Everybody's talking about how great Baker Mayfield came back and all, and Mark just puts it in his basket, and that's it.
Yeah.
They're done.
No.
That's
Game
them.
over.
See you later. See you later,
The
team.
Dolphins and the Eagles this year as well.
Oh, just stay away from my Cowboys, please.
Oh, here. Couldn't make them any worse.
That's true. Actually, join us.
Are you allowed to support tell us what college team you support, or are you not allowed? You have to remain unbiased, or...
Honestly, well, if this was, if we were just purely talking NFL, I'm a Cowboys fan. I think it's quite obvious. It's who I am, and haven't shied away from that, and I will always stick with that. But I think because I kind of got into college football a little later, I actually am pretty unbiased, to be honest with you. You'll see behind me of a Nebraska and Northwestern flag, so I'm really unbiased, and I do find that bit easier when there's new colleges coming every year, and I'm not like, that's the thing. Well, exactly, and if I'm producing content on our pages, particularly, need to keep a balance, because if I'm a diehard Georgia Tech fan, I can't. Yeah, I can't just be posting Georgia Tech and neglect one team or the other, or vice versa. So I would be kind of unbiased, to be honest with you, but Georgia Tech just it's special this year. I think it's because particularly I saw them in 2016. That was my first American football game, so I would be leaning Georgia Tech. Yeah.
See, I might start doing that there as well. In the NFL, not have an exact team.
Yeah, honestly.
Considering the team that I support, might work out well for me.
College football, though, it's another ball game altogether. It's the scale of it. I think the Irish perception sometimes can be college football, and you'll think it's just really, really amateur and something like that, and it is not. Like, these aren't pro athletes yet, but the facilities and everything around it, and the media and everything, it's at that pro level. And these guys, they're acting like pro athletes because they know as well, like, they've got the ability, but also a lot of these guys are media trained really early on because they're going to the NFL draft, and we will have the pleasure of a fair few players that featured in the 2023 game going on to the NFL. And there's an offensive lineman, Joe Alt, who played for Notre Dame, and he featured in our game, and he's going to go top 10. So it's exciting when you see that progression.
Hopefully he goes 10 with the Jets. That'd be nice.
That'd be nice. And then Notre Dame could be your team because of him, and it all just
100%.
ties up nicely.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, that's what I'm saying. We met a couple of Notre Dame players last year, and I met the running back, and I played. I played centre for American football here in Ireland, and he's like up here to me. I'm only like 5'8", and he's like about an extra foot or two taller than me, and I'm like, you're a running back, and I'm supposed to block for you. What's over here?
I gotta say, like, when these trips came over, and we would do these trips with the guys, a couple of players get to come over and just kind of experience Dublin and the stadium and stuff like that, and it's a really cool opportunity. But when they came over, I remember it was kind of my first couple of months in the job, and like, I'm 5'11", I'm not the tallest guy, and that's what I always say. Whoever lies about being 5'11", you're gonna say you're 6 foot, right? So I'm not that short guy, kind of, not that attitude. Right?
You lies about being 5'8", so I can understand that.
I am 5'8", fluff you. 5'9" in my heels.
Well, we met these guys though, and I gotta say, you ever want to be humbled, you just stand beside a 6'6", 6'7" offensive or defensive lineman, and it's like, wow, these guys are in incredible shape. So I need to get in a few more gym sessions for sure. That's one thing.
Yep, as I'm saying, if he came down to one of our training sessions, we would just be like, right, you're like right tackle or something. You're not doing
these guys are just incredible, really, really incredible. But we're also we're good at our sport over here, and we've seen that transition well with the guys who played hurling and GAA to where they're at now, but let's AFI, it's exciting. That's kicking back soon, and I was down at the Shamrock Bowl. That was really great to be a part of, and some of the plays, especially Ty Henry, some of the plays he was making, oh my gosh, I was like, wow,
ball.
Yeah, it was a real eye opener for me. I always knew, but it was like one of the, like, seeing that top tier quality. So it's exciting to see the grassroots really coming through over here for us too.
Yeah, our first game is the 3rd of March, so we're looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, okay. Let's look with that.
Should be fun, mate. Should be fun.
Yeah.
Jets against the Razorbacks. Keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, we'll do.
Here, Scott, that's all from us. Unless you boys have any questions for our Scott here, then
I'm all good.
We'll let you go.
We're excited for the game.
Yeah, look, we're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to having you guys, and appreciate for having me on. But it's truly the excitement's building, and let's hopefully be able to get on just while things are ramping up more as well, and we'll have more to chat about, especially with a lot of stuff taking place, and we've got coaches and cheerleaders and everything happening, so it's all going to kick off. You'll really see it March 14th onwards. It's going to be off the hook. So would say just keep an eye out on our social channels, College Football Ireland, and we're excited. But thanks again personally for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Scott, you've been an absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you very much for coming on, and 100% we'll get you on a game before the game. We can't wait to see it.
I love that.
But yes, that's us for another episode of Talkin Balls, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.